guys are at the swamp. Where would you like to go from here? I guess you really only have one way to go.
Gonna
Yeah,
follow the
the
path.
intention is land and follow the river.
What do we know about this temple?
Well,
Yeah, why are we currently heading to the temple?
Chris, you want to go ahead and tell him, or would you like me to?
Um, well, you're going to have some details that I'm not going to remember from the book. But we came to this island in search of. Basically, I'd received a book from my father, who had been out here before, had adventured through this land about 45 years ago, and he had noted some places of power, some places where there were some treasure, places where there were some powerful, not just money, but items that we were coming back through this area. He'd made some contacts with the villagers, which is what started us on this quest. So as we were traveling to do the pirates, we were basically on a side quest from the villagers, which was to find the people who'd captured their folks. But our original intention was to travel north to the temple to explore and recover the noted treasure, if you would, or powerful items that were kind of noted in the journal in this temple area. And in addition to that, when we were in the villages, the leader of the village, who'd had some contact with my father, had basically said that should we go this way, in the event that we came across some plates, which were basically a documentation of their history and origin, that's all that they would like returned. So as a result of us traveling to this place to seek out the temple and recover the power or the treasure there, we were also looking for the plates and history that was apparently used to be their temple, but it was taken over by. Sorry if I'm forgetting, Dave, what it was taken over by now.
Oh, it's no problem. This is another humanoid race that had encroached into the area many centuries ago. Well, not I'd say centuries ago, that had actually pushed the natives off of the main island. And as you can see, they are down here in the southern part of they're on the peninsula now, and all of the villages that you see from the numeral 1, which is Tangaroa, to Mora, to Burawa, Panatube, Kurikuka, Dawa, and Usi. All of those are the villages which are to the right of the main map there. Those are all identical villages, which was the actual civilization of the entire island of people that used to live at the temple. And then when the new culture of people moved in and actually took the temple over, that's when all of the remaining people and the villagers that are currently on the islands, that's where they were pushed to. So basically, that's been several centuries now, and like Dwivern had mentioned before, that there were some templates, basically a sort of like a Genesis type of story, how the people had come to and how they had survived on the island for so long. Basically, it's like a creator story for all of the villagers down south. So they just want the plates back, and they were telling the party anything else that they had found is theirs to keep. They just want the plates if they can find them. And as for Dwerven's father, he had also mentioned that he had been here 45 years prior, and that's how Dwyvern had come across the journal. His father was killed in an orc invasion on their town within the Thunder Peaks, and his father was killed while Dwyvern was away getting his training in the ranger profession. And when Dwyvern had come back, his father was on his deathbed, and he watched his father die, basically. And then his mother wanted Dwyvern to know that his father was an adventurer in his past life before he became like a family man type of dwarf, I guess you could say, and started raising Dwyvern. Well, Dwyvern's father had been writing in the journal that he wanted to continue his quest at some point with his son, which is Dwyvern. And now that wasn't able to happen. Dwyvern wanted to go on a rage, kill all the orcs, but that would have just led to his death anyway. So the clan elders of the Stonehammer clan basically sent Dwyvern to Waterdeep. They just wanted to send him away as far as possible. Well, Dwyvern had made the 1,000-mile trip. It took him probably a year to get to Waterdeep. One of his old friends, Gizik, which is a rock gnome from a neighboring tribe in the Thunder Peak Mountains, was sent to Waterdeep from Dwyvern's mother. Dwyvern had stormed off and had been sent off before his mother was able to give him his father's journal and introduce it to him and tell him that, look, your father was an adventurer. He wanted to take adventuring back up with you now that you're out of, ranger school, whatever you want to call it. And now, seeing that she wasn't able to tell him that personally, that's when she had his gnome friend from when he was a child make the journey to Waterdeep, find Wyvern, give him the journal, tell him how the journal was there, tell him about the journal, and that's when they came to the Isle of Dread, which is in the Northern Archipelagos, and I'll show you on the main Forgotten Realms map where I placed it. The Isle of Dread doesn't have a designated place per se, but this is the actual place where I made it for this campaign. So it is in the Whalebones, which is part of the Northern Archipelagos, and they've discovered along the way that there is a slave route that has been taking villagers and other living humanoid type of people from all of the islands, from the Northern Archipelagos, and there is a major mine system down here in the Southern Archipelagos, and it is on this island. They've actually found out now from the pirate journal that they had found. Well, that's where all of the captives are being sent down to the mines, basically to do all of the work, and basically they're sent down there to their death. And now they've actually destroyed the northern hub for the slavery ring, you could say, and there are other cities involved in this as well, not Waterdeep per se, but there are other cities to the north and to the south on the main realm of the Forgotten Realms that are actually sending slaves as well. So the bandit hold that they had just found and destroyed, basically, that was a sort of like a hub or a central point to where many ships would drop off slaves, and then other ships would come pick them up, take whatever they needed to fill orders or needs to other islands that needed forced labor, basically. So that's the background of that story. So I try to get you guys caught up a little bit here. So that is where the Isle of Dread is, and now I will put everybody back on the Isle of Dread. So we are at the marsh. So that's the story of how everything has come to where we're at now.
We're not sure, but we think that race may still.
You were breaking up, Oxy. I couldn't understand what you were saying. You were breaking up.
Sounded like your microphone opened up for like a second and then shut down.
Yeah, that's sounds like that's what happened. Actually, they don't know that, so that's the kicker.
Yeah, we don't know what's there. We just know what used to be there 45 years ago, and what the village elder told us they suspected was still there.
Correct.
Sounds like an adventure.
It is an adventure for sure.
Alright, so I guess we're just following the river towards the temple then? Is that right, guys?
Yeah.
Provided we can get to the swamp.
Oh yeah, I guess we're still sailing, sorry.
Well, we'll say that, well, you guys have this map anyway, so you know that there is a river there, and the canoes are about, I think I said they were 20 foot long. They're pretty light because they're actually a really fast, really fast raft or canoe, whatever you want to call it, and you guys could actually trek those across the swamp and set them in the river, and you guys could actually travel up that river there. So that is definitely doable. It's definitely swamp terrain, but it's not such a crappy marsh or a crappy swamp that it's not. You can actually still carry your gear and actually carry the boats the 10 miles or whatever it is to the the mouth of the small stream there. And the stream is large enough and deep enough to where you can actually save you some time and paddle through the mountains.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
We'd like to obviously keep the boats, but if we end up having to backtrack and travel a long way out of here and by foot and through the mountains and whatnot, then that's what we got to do.
Yeah, you guys, you can definitely make the travel by boat up to that position.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying in the event that we lose the boats at some point.
Yeah. What's that there,
Oh.
Oxy?
Or this mountain.
Fuck.
Yeah, still don't understand that.
Yeah, it's like you're keying up, Oxy, and then letting go of the button too early. Oh, they're pretty steep mountains. I mean, they're not like a Kilimanjaro or Everest or anything, but they're actually climbable. You can actually travel these mountains if you'd like. It's just going to take you a little bit more time to actually travel through the mountains than per se
I think-
traveling down the river.
Well, the thing is that there might be danger, so maybe we wanna take the mountains and see the temple before we head in. I'm like talking to the party.
Our understanding is that the temple is up on an elevated position, and that we should be able to see it once we see where that little red line is on the map. That's the river, and then there's a bridge over the river. By the time we break into that clearing, we should be able to see the temple, or at least where it
Oh.
is.
Okay. Alright, let's go then.
Okay, so we would like to take the boat up as far as we can go. I think by the time we get to the red line there, Dave, where it splits, I think we need to get out. I don't want to travel too close in the boat and then be helpless to,
Yeah, no.
you know,
I don't wanna
an
be
attack at that
ambushed.
point.
Yeah,
We should
go ahead.
we should
Oxy.
leave the boat as soon as we can see the temple or anything important.
Yeah, you aren't actually able to see the temple from the from the actual river itself, the party will get to several hours or pass. About 3 or 4 more hours or pass, and once you get to this main split of the river, the three-way split, you can actually see in the distance, you can actually see the large plateau ahead, which the plateau is actually larger or equal to, but it's kind of looks are deceiving. That it does look like it equals the height of the surrounding mountains, but maybe be a little bit higher as well.
Well, the thing is that if there are enemies, they will probably have that river secured.
Yeah,
If
that's
there
why I
are-
think when we get to that split, we need to exit, regardless of what we can or can't see.
Yes, I agree. We should circle around and find another way in.
I'd like to, once we get a little bit closer, Dave. So are we at the place, the split?
Yeah, you guys are actually at the split now. Like I said, there's 4 hours that have passed, so it's probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is starting to come down a little bit, but it's still. You've had no problems up to this point. You see the fork, that's the three-way fork, and you actually see no kind of campfires or any kind of civilization.
Okay, so are there hills or is it like mountain cliffs? Yes, elves and dwarves can see it. Elves have ultravision, which requires a little bit like moonlight.
Yes.
Dwarves have infravision, which is even in pure darkness, and we have one halfling who has neither.
Blind.
So I would think that are there any caves that we could kind of scout out next to these mountains where we might be able to put up camp if we spent the last couple of hours of the day looking for something?
You don't find any caves per se, but you can actually find a few different areas that are kind of sort of entrenched into the mountain, to where you can actually kind of hide between two hills or whatever for some shade, and actually cover as well. So
Maybe it would be a good idea to attack at night, so rest during the day.
well, you guys are fully rested, so
Yes,
there's
we could go through the night. Guide our little friend here.
What's to say that whatever lives there isn't active at night?
True. This is like an island of like lizard people.
Okay. Hey Dave, while we're kind of discussing, I'm going to start basically tracking the area. I need to spend at least 10 minutes kind of looking around the area. Basically, it says under tracking for rangers, it says you succeed automatically if you spend 1 minute tracking creatures. It says except in the following circumstances. More than 24 hours have passed since the creatures passed. The creatures intentionally obscured their trail. Weather, snow, heavy rain has obscured the trail, or the terrain has, such as a river or hard rock, making discerning the traffic difficult, or many creatures have traveled through the area, such as along a road inside a city.
Well, you can see that there aren't a lot of different tracks per se, but you can actually tell that there is one type of creature, and looking at the footprints, you can tell that this is an actual large reptile type of animal that's moved through here within the last couple days.
Is it 4 or 2 leg?
It seems to be two-legged. You don't see any evidence of of 4 prints. All you can see are 2. Looks like you kind of think that it was looking for a meal, maybe. It was basically just a straight line walking, through the mountains. Sometimes you spend an hour tracking this, so you had seen the tracks go one way, and then you would find another set of tracks. But as far as you could tell, it was the same creature. Not multiple
Okay.
creatures, but just one. One rather large, 3 to 4
So-
foot wide footprint. You would see some every
Ugh.
once in a while. Yeah. Really
Does this
large.
feel like something that I could track? I mean, is this something that we could follow?
Yeah, you could actually track it. It seems that the footprints go towards a northwest type of pattern.
Okay, does it appear to like it's going to cross the river or
Oh,
enter the river?
You've actually tracked the actual tracks on both sides of the river. So yes, it had several times. It had moved across the river at some points, probably looking for food.
Anyone else have
Okay,
a
well,
bad
I'm gonna come back and report all that to the party so that we can kind of discuss course of action.
How old do you say these are?
Within the last couple days,
Days.
seems to be anywhere between his skill and all his tracking suggests that it's between a day to 2 days.
Have you
Do you
ever
know
seen these kind of tracks before, Dwayne?
Would
No, he's never.
I don't know.
No, he's never seen this type of track, but he does know that in studies and everything, it does seem to be reptilian.
What dragon is it?
It was 2 legs, so is
Maybe.
it big
Maybe.
enough? No, it was only 3.5 to 4 feet wide, so that would be a young dragon at the very best, or the very worst, I should say.
Yeah, it's definitely not a dragon.
Oh, gee.
Well, this might be what we're about to encounter, so
If it
Okay,
is,
well,
go
what do
ahead.
you guys feel? Do we want to note that and move away from the tracks to try to avoid it, or do we want
Oh.
to try to eliminate it and make our trip
These tracks
safer,
are-
so to speak?
are about here, right? Somewhere.
I'd say we should probably try to avoid it, maybe.
Yeah, it seems
Since
like
it's so giant.
the tracks kind of go. Shite. Let me get rid of a couple things. Sorry about that.
Here to here, like this.
If they divert from the path, I don't think we should try to follow it. Getting any unnecessary like trouble or anything.
Oh, so it wasn't coming from the temple?
No, it seemed like hopefully you guys can see that arrow that I just drew. It seemed like the tracks, Chris had tracked it going in that type of direction. But, once he does lose the actual, once his tracking ability is no longer able to track it, it does stop it. It seems like whatever it was rather large, and it was moving in a northwest fashion.
So it
for
moved
food,
into
it
the
seemed
mountains, right?
Yes. Yeah, you can't get you don't spend enough time going all the way up to them because you just obviously, you look for an hour and that's just the way. It looks like that's the area, and that thing was that was moving.
Okay, well that's going sort of the opposite direction that we were planning on heading anyways.
Correct.
Well, it is a few days old, so whatever made those footprints is probably gone.
Yeah, and the other thing is that we're on schedule to be back towards the village in 3 weeks, which is, Dave, that's probably, what, 2.5 weeks away now?
You are on day 4, halfway through day 4. Actually, it's starting to get to dusk now, so it is now starting to get dark. By the time you guys have gotten the
It took
small
us-
boats out of the water and everything, it's now starting to be dusk now. So you're almost at the end of day 4.
Okay, so we're going to keep traveling. I agree that, if we, like we did with the pirate hideout, we had an advantage at night because we could see and they couldn't. Let's get as close as we can to what appears to be a bridge, and check the kind of from a distance, appear to tell whether or not the bridge is actually intact.
Okay.
Well, the bridge is gonna be the main point. I mean, if they're looking somewhere, or if they are alert towards some direction or whatever, it's gonna be the bridge. Sure.
Right. Understood, but that's why we're approaching at night.
Yeah, but what if they see at night as well?
Well, at least we can get close and then kind of decide from there. If we don't see anyone, then we can proceed at night. If we could just take it by
Alright.
ear once we get there.
Right. I mean, and according to the map we have, that's appears to be the only way into the area without going in through the river.
It will be impossible to climb this, right?
Yes,
I
to
have a
actually
climber's kit.
to actually climb up the plateau, it's definitely too steep. But the bridge actually has a that's noted in the journal that there is actually after the bridge there is a a steep winding path that does lead up to the plateau.
Well, yeah, to the bridge it is. It's the only way in.
Okay, so we'll try to time it so that it is dark when we get towards the location of the bridge, so that as we're kind of peering out into the distance, we see whether or not we can see any torch lights, anything like that. If we can actually see the bridge, otherwise we're waiting until the morning.
Okay,
Sounds like a plan.
once you get up to the it is darkness out. You have no encounters on the way. Actually, back at the mouth of the Tri-Fork there and the river, you get the boats stowed away. You get them hid. You guys do a little eating. You make your way to the bridge. The bridge seems to be uneventful. You can't see anything. You don't see any type of campsites. It doesn't seem like the bridge is fortified from a human standpoint at all, or a humanoid type of standpoint at all. You don't see any kind of towers. You don't see any kind of life or anything.
So
It's just dark.
this bridge is like really old. Yes.
The bridge is old, but it looks like it does look like it will once you guys are looking at it from the bottom. You guys are still down on the. I'll say you guys are still down under the bridge, kind of looking up at it because you're scouting around, and it does look like it is old. But from what you can see in the dark, you guys basically think that you can make it across, and that's.
But it looks old. It doesn't look like it's been maintained or anything.
Well, it is dark outside, so I mean you can't actually inspect it like that per se because of it.
Okay.
It is dark. So
Well, let's make our way up towards the
we should
entrance to
get,
the bridge. We at least need to scout it and see if it's well traveled or not.
To send one or two up on the hill to look further.
I'm blind, so I'll just stay with the party.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, even the ultravision is only good for I think 120 feet, so we're not going to see a whole heck of a lot at distance.
Yes. All right.
all right. I'm just needing 1 second, everyone.
Real quick, what's the bridge made out of? Is it like wooden or stone?
It is it's like a wooden. There's a little bit of stone on the ends, kind of holding up the the stone pylons that are holding the rope, and Then the rope is tied from one end from one pylon set